Back to my channel, it's Christy here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, Libra, there is a link in the description box where you can find out your whole birth chart. And that way, for additional information for the week, you can always check out your Moon and Rising sign readings on top of your Sun sign reading today. So this is for Libra for the week of August 15th to August 22nd. We are using the Wisdom of the Oracle Tarot for a 5-card spread today, asking what does your sign need to know for general messages, and then as always drawing additional cards from each of the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot. So whatever is most prominent in your life, Libra, I'll encourage you to apply these messages to, and hopefully you find them helpful and healing. So what does Libra need to know? Whoops. All right, so we're just looking for one more jumper card. And we have a bit of a pile there. We're just looking for one to complete this spread. Sweet. Okay, so Libra, let's get a general sort of bird's eye view about the entire spread here. What's some basic energy around all the cards together? We're looking at issues surrounding your community or a sense of belonging in the world, in your community, in your church, at work, in family. Again, because it's a general reading, whatever's most prominent to you this week. But if any of those concerns are sort of cropping up and you're trying to figure out, you know, why do these people keep occurring in my life? I'm not at this phase in my life anymore. Or do I really want to keep doing this? This is what might be going on here. You are looking at some karmic issues here in terms of where do you belong, maybe some karmic debt, whether or not that's perceived or real for you. And then we're looking at, if not the arts in general, an artistic framework or point of view or way about going in the world. It could have absolutely everything to do with the sciences as well. I don't mean the arts as opposed to science. I mean an artistic approach to anything that you're doing and putting your finishing touches on it or putting your personal touches on it. And then maybe possibly leaving something behind or feeling like you are being left behind by another person or a group or society, like a society, not society in general, but issues about belonging, why you belong there, and feeling as though you're alone right now or this week could be some major themes for the week for you. Could it be around 10th house stuff? Very possibly. This may not be a relationship in general. It may be a business or a work concern, even say a volunteer work. But anytime we're looking at blessed, we're looking at feeling fundamentally really comfortable, particularly in 10th house issues. So, you know, with the work environment, public perception of you, status, having your so-called ducks in a row, right? Like everything's looking as though it's working, but there's something going on the inside here. So that's what I'm drawing upon here. We're looking at 10th house issues, but that you could be asking larger questions about belonging there or not. So let's look at what's going on in each position, and then I'll hold the cards up so you get a better idea of not only the color in the cards, but any items or figures in the cards that appeal to you. If anything appeals to your intuition, use that to your advantage. We have the tribe in your central position. This represents you, and this is really literally community. This is all about where you belong. Could it be family? Sure. But it probably has something to do with the community that you belong to, that you've created or has been created and you've, entered somehow. And like I said, it could be fundraising, it could be volunteer work, it could be at a church or something like that. There's some sort of theme involved here with this community, but it's something that has held your interest for a long time, and it's felt like family. It's felt like you really belong there. Maybe there's something that just needs the finishing touches put on it here, or you don't feel valued here. That could be what's going on as well. Or you feel you're undervalued and you want to make a decision around that, or you want to get to the bottom of that. In the energy that you're just leaving or bringing into the week is the unfinished symphony. And this is where we're looking at something that really needs to be tied up. Something needs to be put to rest. Something needs to be completed, edited, polished, really cleaned up to your satisfaction. And because this is probably a group issue or a group concern, there's only so much you can do in this area before you're going to feel like you're taken advantage of, or like I mentioned, you're not being appreciated, or there's not enough room for you in this environment, or you're not being heard or taken seriously, etc. So that is definitely energy that you're bringing into the week, and it could be part and parcel of what the general concern is here. The reason why I do say this could be about public issues, or it could be about work, or even volunteer, or something having to do with groups that aren't necessarily, your relationships, your family, is because we have the Capricornian blessed card here. This is also a very stable card. This is a higher ascension card, so you could feel very well taken care of in almost every area of your life, which is ultimately going to allow you to even ask these questions or come to terms with what you need to polish or put the editing touches on here. Maybe they're being rejected. Maybe that's part of what's going to make you feel like you have to make a decision here. There's going to feel like there's a lot of shoulds this week. People should do this, you should do that. So there could be a little bit of bickering. If there isn't, those could be going on internally, where you feel like if you could just express this, you could really make some changes, but other people are in charge of certain things, or maybe it's a union issue and you can only do so much. Heaven forbid. But you do feel as though generally everything's taken care of. I don't see any major upsets here. Nothing's being undone necessarily. It's just that something's not quite right for you, and you want to nip it in the bud. You want to get to the bottom of it. You want to do everything that you can possibly do to make it shiny, or make it, so-called perfect, or just right, or what the group wants. But for some reason, it's being neglected, or someone's not listening or taking it seriously, or it's being outright rejected. And maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a good reason for that. It's not the right time, or they don't like it for their own reasons, or it's too expensive to apply, or whatever. I think what could be happening here is that you're taking it personally, where that's going to drag you down as opposed to a business decision. And if it is a business, whether or not it's a business decision, I just don't see a need for this rejection or a neglect from someone else's perspective here to be your burden. They have the right to make their decisions and act and react in their own way to what they consider the highest good. It doesn't mean what you said or what you're doing or what you're applying or, attempting here is wrong necessarily. It just means that there's more than one person involved. And for some reason, it can't fly this week. And as I said earlier, there is a sense of real or perceived here, a real or perceived karma. So if there are any words around, I'm looking at the round and round now, if there's any concerns or terms being used this week around should or karma or deserve. A lot of what we think is karma is a sense of deservability, like they'll get their comeuppance, or that person did that, therefore they deserve this. But that's karma's job, that's not our job. So if you feel in any level that you're somehow in charge of applying karma, or you're in charge of, or it's somehow your job to apply or to manifest karma for someone else or a business or whatever's going on, it's going to be returned to you threefold. So really make sure you don't get involved with that kind of magic. You don't want to be forcing anything this week. Say your piece. Do it from a place of love and self-respect. Do it because you know that the polishing or editing touches are going to be a win-win for everybody. Just don't be surprised if it's not accepted the way that you feel it should be accepted, because it could be rejected this week. And if you take it personally, instead of just say, well, if that's the way you want to go about it, then, you know, I'll probably end up saying told you so, but go ahead and make that mistake. I'll be here to help fix it when it's over or whatever. There is a different mental attitude to take this week toward something crashing or something falling apart, or your advice or your opinion or your input not being applied. So let's look at these one by one. We have the tribe. You can see there's a little bit of a community feel here. We've got the giraffes, there's a pair of parrots, there's a lot of birds overhead, and they're kind of they're in this little hut, but they're traveling, right? They're moving. This is a temporary setup. So there is something that's temporary here in the first place, Libra. So maybe a sense of over-attachment, or, you know, like this over-investment in something that is kind of temporary is problematic in the first place, because it's just sucking up so much energy. So just recognize that whatever this is probably temporary and will work itself out in the long run, and maybe don't over-invest yourself and your energy into it too much. Stay true to you. I do think that this is speaking to you in particular about what you can provide or contribute or accomplish within this environment. And stay in your own lane. Like, do exactly what is best for everybody in this situation, and then maybe just wipe your hands of it and walk away. Let the chips fall where they may this week, Libra. In your blessed card, like I said, we have beautiful ascension colors here. So there is an opportunity for rising above a situation or leaving something behind that isn't working for you. And again, with the Capricornian figure and 10th house issues, we're looking at the work environment. Of course, that includes volunteer work, but includes work placements, but also school work, or, you know, working on a project, working on a theme, working on an artistic endeavor, whatever that means for you this week. Throw your finishing, your polishing touches onto it. Really don't, if you can do it without waiting for or relying on external validation this week, you'll be golden, Libra. This will give you a lot of relief to just release it. Like, I did it. I did my best. I did everything I thought was great. If they accept it or if they don't, hey, at least I know I did everything that I thought was good for everybody, because the karma will sort itself out. In fact, there's literally nothing that you could do anyway about the situation in order to hurry it or to solve it or to stop it if you don't want it coming back to you threefold. Okay, this is what happens with karma anyway. Yeah, you can hurry something, you can force something all you want, but it's going to turn around and bite you. And do you want that? I'm guessing no. So spare yourself. Let things sort themselves out and fall in place the way they're going to. because something is going to give way. There's going to feel like there's a loss. There's going to feel like you or something you've done or said is being rejected. But I swear, if you refuse to take it personally this week, even if it isn't a personal, if it has nothing to do with business, for example, even if it is personal and it's between you and a friend or a family member or a trusted colleague even, all you can do is tell your truth and be honest and do everything that you can. You can't force anything. So if you feel in the dark because of it, or you feel a little bit let down, try to let that go. And remember that whatever people deserve, you and others will get sorted out. Try not to be the boss of how that gets sorted out. That's, as I said, that's not only enormous energy to put into you, now playing God, as opposed to just moving on, right? You've done everything you can do, move on. Because once we start mucking with karma or karmic intentions or being in control of karma, God forbid, it is a magic. And you do risk bringing that back upon yourself 3 times. So I guess it depends on how heavily or how strongly you feel about this situation. Maybe you'll think it's worth it. But I think it'll sort itself out. I really do. And probably within the week. And you'll be like, hey, a lot of that had to do with me. Because I was in charge of myself. And I stayed in my own lane. And I was looking out for the group. Like no one in this scenario is going to be able to say, I hope karma catches up with you. That's not, no one's going to be able to say that this week, because you're looking out for you and you've taken the highest route for everyone concerned. So no one can say anything bad about you this week unless you force something here, Libra, okay? God forbid it be revenge too. Like don't get dragged down by stuff like that if that's what's going on. Revenge is another sort of clue to karma, that type of thing. Yeah, don't go there. It's also a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy that you could be using to improve other conditions in your life or to create other conditions in your life. So karma has its own soul. It'll get figured out. Just try not to take a disappointment this week too personally. So we're just looking for a jumper card from this deck here. Oh my heavens, look, we have the swan. The swan's keyword is grace. And I'm not trying to drive this home and be annoying, I swear, but I promise you, Libra, if you just sort of say your piece, do everything to your highest abilities, and then just sort of like wipe your hands of it. Be graceful about the whole situation. Yeah, that's really self-explanatory here. And I think it is speaking to the rounded round, to this karma card here as well. If you just exhibit an element of grace and expect the best for everybody, but also don't force something here, I think you'll be really happy at the end of it, even if there is a tiny bit of a disappointment that you're going to be able to brush off really easily. We have the study card as your last influence card here for the whole spread. This is interesting because there could be an opportunity within the week as well for you, Libra, to learn a lot very quickly, or get a lot out of the situation or this discussion or this movement or this direction, etc. I think that there is a great opportunity for aha moments even, and to